We caught up with Shaun Haney with Real Agriculture out of Canada. And Shaun, as we look at this strike, this seems, given the timing and the type of products that we're discussing from a fertilizer standpoint and all of the conflicts going on around the world, this seems like an unfortunate event.
Unfortunate, badly timed. The dispute is the dispute, and clearly both sides are a ways apart on like 24 different items. Wages, pensions, and work environment, of course, are the things that are mentioned the most. But the strike started on Sunday morning, and the two parties continue to try to find a resolution, but everybody focusing right now, Clinton, very, very much on the poor timing of this. Of course, the Russia-Ukraine situation, which has really limited the amount of fertilizer that can come out of Russia and Belarus, is added to that. Our supply chain, this is just another thing added on, and it's really impacting producers on both sides of the border.
You know, and I think maybe a lot of people don't realize how big a supplier Canada is and that area is to the entire North American market.
Yeah, especially when you look at fertilizer. Saskatchewan, which is in Western Canada on the prairies, is the largest producer of potash in the world. And like I mentioned, the Belarus Russia situation, that fertilizer has got to be shipped by train. Even internally, domestically in Canada, 75% of the fertilizer moves by train, and CP being one of our two rail carriers. Now, if you think about that product, Nutrien said last week they're going to be upping their volumes of production of potash, but we need rail service to be able to get it to parts of the Midwest with planting so close here, spring right up against us.
As we talk about a resolution here, what does the path forward look like?
All eyes are on whether or not, obviously, these two parties can come together and find quick resolution here. We cannot have a strike that lasts 2 weeks. That will just be chaos when it comes to fertilizer going south or corn coming into Canada. And Canada's imported 7 times the amount of corn that they typically would. Everybody watching the federal government. Transport Minister Seamus O'Regan said over the weekend that the best deals are done by the two parties that negotiate it, that are at the table. The government seems to be, they're going to, I think, potentially slow play this a little bit, let the action happen for a couple days. And I think with the House of Commons returning here this morning, we're really going to see pressure on the Prime Minister and the Transport Minister to do something about this. Many stakeholders across the ag spectrum and even the auto sector speaking up and talking about the casualties that are created by this situation. So the government's going to feel the heat to intervene and put back to work legislation in place.
Yeah, and as we talk about timing, I mean, we're almost to April. We're here at late March. You get to mid-April, all of a sudden, planting takes off in a real hurry. It's already started in the southern U.S., so that product, I know folks will be looking for it, and it'll be needing to make its way into position to get ready for spring planting because, time is limited. And, as we all know, whenever you get a window and you're ready to plant, you need to get out there.
Absolutely. When it's go time, it's go time. And, rail service has been challenged by some of the cold weather. We've seen really, really poor deliveries from the Canadian prairies out to the Port of Vancouver here through the winter because of how cold things were. And some of the, there's a lot of snow in Manitoba, which has really, really held the service back. So this is just an added thing on top of that as farmers are about to hit the field. There's been so much anxiety about supply. And this is one of those things where it's kind of in our control to try to make sure that our railways are operating, as an example. It's not something happening across the world. It's in our own backyard. And this feels a little bit like the supply chain self-inflicted wound to let this labor impasse get to this point.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you so much, Shaun Haney, Real Agriculture, joining us here on Ag Day to discuss what's happening with rail and the strike there in Canada. Appreciate the insights as always, Shaun. Talk to you again soon.
Thanks a lot, Clinton.